Guns don't kill people, people kill people. It's a simple saying, but I intend to explore the statement and expand upon it to show some of the facts to back it up. I've been around hunting and guns all my life, as I'm sure some of you have. I have several family members in law enforcement that have taught me the importance of owning a firearm for personal protection. Studies show that there are many benefits to owning a firearm. Many people are misinformed about gun control and gun violence. Gun ownership can actually prevent crime, as guns can be used for personal protection, as I touched about earlier. My goal is to open your eyes to the facts. Let's start by talking about some of the ideas and opinions regarding gun control. There are many misconceptions about gun control. Whether that's from being misinformed or personal speculation, I believe it all boils down to not knowing enough information about guns. According to a study done by researcher Catherine Schaefer, in 2019, 47% of people thought that stricter gun laws would reduce crime. There are many stricter gun law thoughts. One of the most popular is banning guns altogether. I personally believe that stronger background checks and mandatory safety training will be the way to go. Only 42% of people live in a household with a gun, and only 30% of people own a gun here in the United States. When owning a gun can actually be very beneficial. Some people out there have the thought that these criminals are buying these guns and using them on the streets and obtaining them legally, when in reality they're not. According to the Vice President of the Institute of Constitutional Government, John Malcolm, legally owned firearms are used for lawful purposes much more often than are used to commit crimes or suicide. Some other people also think that guns are part of the problem, when they can actually help prevent crime. Guns prevent 2.5 million crimes a year, which is 6,849 crimes a day. This is according to Lawrence Reed of the Foundation for Economic Education. It makes sense when you think about it. If you were a criminal, would you risk your life over how much cash someone might have in their pocket? I know I certainly wouldn't. Out of those 2.5 million crimes, 400,000 of those I consider life-threatening crimes. If you're not comfortable carrying a firearm on your person, there's many benefits to just keeping one in the house. In 1982, Kennesaw, Georgia passed a law requiring heads of households to keep at least one firearm in the house. The residential burglary rate dropped down 89% the following year. In the movie Iron Man, Robert Downey Jr.'s character, Tony Stark, says the best weapon is one you never have to fire. The point of having a firearm for personal protection is to deter the criminals away from committing crimes. Lawrence Reed found that felons reported that they avoid entering houses when people are at home because they fear of being shot. Banning guns wouldn't keep them out of the hands of criminals. Criminals don't really follow laws, so why do they follow a law outlawing guns? It's simple. I don't think they would. Many criminals don't even own guns legally as it is now. Out of 900 guns in Pittsburgh, only 30% were legally owned. Most murders are committed with illegally owned guns as well. 92% of gang murders are committed with illegally obtained guns, and in Chicago, out of all crimes involving guns, only 3% of these guns were legally owned. Those statistics just help prove that banning guns wouldn't keep them out of the hands of criminals. Washington, D.C. has essentially banned gun ownership since 1976, and they have a murder rate of 56.9 per 100,000 people. If we go across the river to Arlington, Virginia, where gun ownership is less restricted, their murder rate is just 1.6 per 100,000 people, which is considerably less compared to Washington, D.C.'s murder rate. Those two cities are another great example of how banning guns wouldn't keep them out of the hands of criminals. They keep them out of the hands of people who are using to protect themselves and others against those criminals. It's just letting those 2.5 million crimes be carried out. When you look at the facts, it's very clear that banning guns is a bad idea. Also, I've talked about that there's a lot of people who have several things to learn about gun control. There's many misconceptions about them, and there's many people who are not aware of the benefits owning a gun may come with. I go back to those 2.5 million people. When you think about that, it really adds some levity to this whole situation. I know I certainly would not want to ban guns and let those 2.5 million crimes be carried out. Making guns illegal or next to impossible to obtain would be a very massive mistake and would put very many people in danger. That's why I think that gun control laws should not be put in place that make guns unattainable or illegal to get. Thank you for listening.